The biggest thing that bothers me is when I go to read the Bible and then I look at the world. There's big contradictions there. And it's not because we we have sin. Yes, sin is sin. We know that sin is something that goes against what God has for your divine will. That's what sin is. So anything that is distracting you or that is hindering you from connecting into God is a sin. That part. So moving on. When you read the Bible, they give you a whole bunch of sins and things, of course. And then you look at the world and you're like, okay, well, these sins have become more sins, have become more sins, so I'm not sure which way to go. But then there's the biggest thing that makes it weird to me is and I keep talking about this because this is big to me. The world's laws. Did they get those rules from God? Did they go take that back to God before they started trying to keep us in bondage and in slavery and enslaved and keeping us bound to the world? Because God wanted us to be servant to Him first. So you servant to God, and then God puts you on assignment to serve the people. But a lot of us have gotten this out of order. So when we read the Bible, I start to question certain things because I'm like, okay, God directly said this. Jesus directly did this. But yet in the world, our leaders do not operate in this same energy, in this same field that God was operating from. You understand what I'm saying? So when I try to learn try to learn things and do things better, I look back at that and see how they were actually living in that time. They put God first and then the land. Like the land was basically in the Bible. You have to read it like it's a big poetry book. Honestly, it to me is nothing but parables. The land sometimes is compared to as people. The church is sometimes compared to as people. Is not always talking about a destination in the Bible. Like these words are interchangeable. So when it speaks about a lot of times about being in groups, or they talk about getting not masses together, and they're like congregating and they're learning from one another, basically is what I'm trying to say. They're fellowshipping and they're learning from one another, and they're allowing God to be in the midst of it. But then you have in the world, you don't really see a lot of us being led by God first. Like we are so worried about other people, places, and things, and not God. So that's something that gets me lost in translation. How about you guys? Help me. Let's talk about it.